Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about the Valentine's Rare Egg Machine, which has just gone live in North America. So, as a whole, the Valentine's Rare Egg Machine is underwhelming. And with that in mind, I don't encourage players to actually roll in here because you will find much more value across a myriad of other events, so to speak. And while there is the opportunity to monster exchange for Valentine's Noah, it is going to be obviously a costly endeavor because for the most part, I feel like the vast majority of cards in this event fall under the category of nice to have, but not truly needed. Of course, that being said, there are obviously some cards that are wonderfully strong, and if you are a person who has rolled heavily in the past and has many Valentine's cards to spare, you could potentially monster exchange for Machine Noah, who is able to be acquired for 15 Valentine's Rare Egg Machine cards. Now, obviously, you could roll a bunch of times in order to acquire enough fodder to trade for, maybe get something nice along the way, but you have to ask yourself, do you actually need Valentine's Noah? Will it actually help you actually clear more content? And also, do you even have enough magic stones to roll that many times to get at least 15 trade fodder? Because unfortunately, Valentine's Noah requires 3 copies to work because they form a special kind of system. So, Valentine's Noah is going to work similarly to other swipe farming cards because they have double brick, they have attack while above 50%, they have combo orb, they have rose, and their active skill is quite unique. It provides on a 7-turn cooldown initially a full board change of water and then 2 rows of fire and piercing damage void along with changing or evolving the active skill. This is only a 7-turn cooldown, so basically a full board changer and the 2 essential blobs you need to trigger her Brick Awakenings. And then after that, it's a 1-turn cooldown in order to, again, do essentially the same thing with 2 rows of water instead of 3, and then 2 rows of fire, and then 1 turn of haste. It's kind of ridiculous in terms of how outrageous that is. And then this active skill cycles back into Form 1. Now, with 3 of these, you're able to cycle them, and in addition to that, you also have extra haste being pumped throughout your team, so other cards with longer base cooldowns, or just cooldowns in general, will be hasted back up at a much faster rate, along with the fact that you probably don't need anything to solve damage penetration needs. In terms of power level, it's obviously a step up compared to like Shiva Dragons, Nordis Dragon in like a pure vacuum setting, simply because it gives that penetration aspect as well as orb block removal and the extra haste. So she is obviously a stronger option, but again, it is a costly thing to actually acquire. And you have to think, do I really need this? Depending on who you are, you may or may not want so. Just remember that Valentine's Noah will be hitting for incredibly hard amounts of damage on both main and sub attribute, and she can potentially have extra skill boost. Cloud and Tape Resist are completely worthless because when you're swiping, you are swiping and you don't actually care. Now, that being said, if you are fortunate to only roll 1 of them and you really don't have any interest in the system and acquiring extra copies, her weapon assist is actually quite juicy. Double team HP, 2 seconds of movement time, and a 7 combo. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's not a bad consolation prize overall, and it does give you a cleric style active skill, which I guess may be helpful, but it's obviously most used in her swiping form. Next is Lizette, and Lizette's another new card who you can't acquire via Monster Exchange or anything else, and they are interesting because they actually come with damage and bulk. Somewhat of a rare combination. There's not too many offensive-based cards who actually have Team HP Awakenings baked in, and with their Super Awakenings, they can get obviously more skill boost, or a 5th 10 combo awakening to actually deal large amounts of damage. Their active skill is on a 3-turn cooldown, and it creates a single roulette, but no movement time buff, so you can't really abuse this spinner particularly well. Pierce, damage penetration, orb block removal, and changing water to wood orbs. Not terrible, not great, but it does give that penetration aspect. It's not going to be most likely enough orb generation if you are going to only rely on that if you somehow had enough cards for a system. And I think they're nice. They're kind of a damage stick that does do penetration. The spinner aspect does let you potentially overcome problematic preemptive board changers if that's something that your team is struggling against. Again, it kind of falls into the category of I like to own this card, but I'm not necessarily going to spend stones digging for them. Weapon assist wise, it's double skill boost, double team HP, and double skill bind resist. Again, not a bad set of awakenings. And we are definitely starting to see more and more cards with no skill bind resist, which is what the actual fish. And then we have the ability to actually give 2 turns of haste along with damage absorption and damage penetration, negating for 4 turns. So it's quite a powerful active skill upon entering a dungeon because it can solve potentially multiple different issues. It's 4 effective skill boosts. It gives bulk, skill bind resist, which might be awkward to find. It's a strong weapon assist. Again, it's something I would like to have, but again, at a 1% chance, it's not exactly going to happen, I feel. Conversely, their other weapon assist is triple team HP and 8 orb enhances. That's a spectacular amount of orb enhances when you really think about it, especially if your team is actually fire or wood based. And the active skill, while it is a lower base cooldown, you just don't skill it up, and at least you should have a bit more wiggle room to adjust. But again, big bulk, big passive damage. No downsides truly to this weapon assist, so to speak, aside from the fact that it's a card that's not going to be easily acquirable. Thulia has a wonderful utility-based kit. So upon transformation, like entering the dungeon, she has only 3 skill boosts. Upon transforming, she does give you 3 turns of delay, which at least gives you essentially 6 effective skill boosts, which is not a bad number by any means. And then when they are transformed, they have full blind, full cloud, 6 enhanced hard orb awakenings, double cross, double L. So they can solve your blinds, your sticky blinds, your clouds, your healing needs, your assist being taken away and put back on when you match those L's. She's solving a multitude of different effects just from the awakenings. And then her active skill is another thing that basically just gets rid of lots of gimmicks, so to speak. I feel like at this point, Pad is definitely becoming much more gimmicky, where they're throwing out tons and tons and tons of different types of mechanics, and it's becoming more and more difficult to actually counteract every single one of them. And with this active skill, it will counteract some of the more like annoying and potentially maybe lethal based mechanics, because it gives 1.5 times attack for all allies, it gives you an RCV buff, it increases your max HP, your board becomes 7x6 for 2 turns, and it gives a single turn of haste. It is solving a multitude of different problems. Yes, it's not your cleric, it's not absorption, but there is a chance, depending on how many cards you need for your system, that you might be able to slot her into a given team. And with these awakenings solving many problems on her own, along with this active skill providing quite a bit of different value, because when you think about it, the extra max HP overrides HP debuffs. It gives you essentially 50% more. It's basically like 50% damage reduction, so to speak, because you have 50% more health. So it's basically 50% more effective HP, so to speak. And attack buff, healing ability, bigger board to counteract all the board shrinkages we've been seeing. And that haste is probably going to be deceptively helpful, because it's going to allow you to actually get back up other active skills that may have been a bit behind, so to speak. Or if like leaders got overcharged because of mechanics and you had to dump them, you can re-haste it back up to at least hopefully bridge your like orb generation loop, so to speak. So she's providing a multitude of different kinds of utility. It's not like the traditional like hard counters we have of like absorption and clericing needs, but I feel like at least with the rate or the direction Pad is heading, these types of mechanics are probably going to become much more lethal potentially in the near future. And again, solving multiple problems with the active skill and with her awakenings makes her quite valuable. Of course, it's not exactly easy to acquire. In terms of the weapon assist, double skill boost, tape, team HP, nice awakenings overall. Gives you an active skill that gives you 2 turns of haste, so it's never going to necessarily go to waste, so to speak. It gives a multitude of different buffs, but the haste helps you at least get going at the start of a dungeon. For Maris, she can fulfill a nice supportive role with this large amount of healing potential through the 4 enhanced hard orb awakenings. She has 4 L's, so she will quickly put back your assists if they get removed. She has that L shield, which is potentially a bit of damage reduction if you have hearts to spare. And the active skill is a cleric style ability where it clears bind, awoken bind, unmatchable, and creates exactly 3 water, dark, and hard orbs while removing locked orbs. 5-turn cooldown, cleric with utility, nice card to have overall. And again, she does have, again, a lower cooldown, so you can inherit something over top of it, which in turn can help you overcome problematic stuff at the beginning of a dungeon while still providing utility overall. In terms of super awakenings, you can have extra skill boost, extra healing, or just bigger stats overall. For weapon assist, double team HP, double RCV, single heart orb enhance these are nice awakenings to have overall. Like bulk healing potential is resolved, and it does give you a 4-turn delay upon upon usage, which again, at the start on turn 1s, especially for cards that have multi-step transformation needs, delays are incredibly helpful. It can also let you wait out other problematic debuffs that you may not have been able to actually address otherwise. So again, powerful weapon assist. Again, once I want to reiterate, these cards are obviously nice, but the chances of you rolling these are unbelievably low, so we need to cater or taper our expectations accordingly. Other weapon assist is double skill boost, 4 OEs, and then an extra heart OE on top of that. It's that same cleric active skill she has in her base form. I'm probably much more inclined to utilize the double team HP, double RCV enhanced hard orb with 4 turns delay if I were to actually roll one. For Kuvia, she has 10 7 combo awakenings with the potential to get 2 more, so she could have 12 7 combo awakenings, which is actually a large amount of personal damage. It's not effective in terms of, or it's not efficient, I should say, in terms of awakening slots used. Like, if it was a double 10 combo, that's 25 times. A double 7 combo is only 4 times. It adds up because she has so many, but it could have been condensed to like 10 combos. 7 combos, in all honesty, are completely outdated at this point in time because almost everything hits 10 combos anyways. With that being said, active skill is a 3-turn cooldown, so not 2 turns, which means you can't truly system it, but it changes orbs to, well, it changes light to fire and dark to hearts. So a nice orb change overall, but it would be nice if it was a 2-turn cooldown to at least system it. It gives you an RCV buff and heart orbs more likely to appear, which I guess is kind of nice, but again, falling under the category of nice to have, probably not necessary to own. Weapon assist gives you red sub attribute, full bind immunity, 7 combo, 4 red OEs, team HP, and a movement time, or 1 second of bonus movement time. Again, I would like to have it in my box, but I'm not necessarily going to be seeking this out, I feel, on a regular basis. And now we come to Ideal. And Ideal and Akine, which we'll get to shortly, are going to have some problems overall, because cards with these skill charge awakenings do technically have a much shorter cooldown. Ideal's cooldown here is only 6 turns effectively, because you're going to be hopefully matching a rainbow board every turn. And 6 turns for a cleric with an RCV buff on top of that and a board change is not a bad outcome overall, but the problem is at this point in time, the vast majority of teams have something or multiple somethings that need to transform. And in order to get to that transformation aspect, we need to inherit stuff on our non-transforming cards to get us to that point where we have enough haste or delays in order to address the lacking of skill boost, so to speak. And with a 12-turn base cooldown, it's going to be harder to inherit a more desirable or a larger impact weapon assist. If we look at like the bigger haste cooldowns, they're quite long, and because of that, it's going to be difficult to inherit those on top of Ideal and actually utilize them on turn 1, which is when you kind of need it. For the most part, dungeons tend to be extremely hard at the beginning because you got to get your teams transformed and going, and hopefully towards the end when the bosses are much more nasty. Point of the matter is, with a cooldown that's this long at 12 turns, even though it's effectively 6 with skill charge, you are going to have a problem getting those zestier inherits up in time. And because of that, it's going to be difficult to run Ideal on teams that have anything that needs to transform, because it just lowers the chances of her being able to actually do something. But as a cleric, as far as a cleric goes, she has some healing potential, she has movement time, she has lots of 4 attribute awakenings and the chance to get levitation, so she can be a cleric that does damage, but she doesn't actually have guard break, so those high defense stuff that rainbow teams tend to overcome, she's not necessarily going to be able to address. Weapon assist wise, I don't think it's that particularly special in the first form. Second form has Cloud, double team HP, skill bind resist, skill boost, L. It's a nice set of awakenings, not particularly amazing, but not bad by any means otherwise. Dark form is going to suffer a similar fate as her red-based form. It's just kind of swapping the active skill, giving movement time instead of RCV, but the same problem with this 12-turn cooldown. Again, lots of different super awakenings to choose from. It's a cleric who actually can deal damage, which again might be useful, but again, no guard break means certain dungeons are not going to be that favorable. Weapon assist, double skill boost, team HP, L, not that special by any means. Light version of Valentine's Ideal is a bit more ideal, I'd say, based on the things I said beforehand because it's truly a 6-turn cooldown. Because when you think about it, guard break instead of skill charge and half the cooldown for the essentially a similar type of active skill. There's no movement time or RCV buff, but you can inherit stuff on top of her and actually get going sooner, which gives her a little bit more of an edge. And with double 5 attribute with levitation, she should be dealing large amounts of damage in super gravity based dungeons. And again, guard break ensures you actually can pierce through all those high defense spawns. I'm not saying that she's something you should go out and monster exchange for, but it's at least something that you can potentially utilize a bit more when you need to transform other cards. And then in terms of their leadership potential, it's nothing special compared to other Rainbow leaders in all honesty. Other weapon assist has 5 attribute, 2 skill bind resist, enhanced hard orb, movement time. Not bad, not amazing either. Akine, again, is going to follow the same problems that Ideal had, but on a much bigger scale with an 18-turn cooldown. It's really 6 turns because she has skill charge plus plus, but at 18 turns, good luck inheriting something over top of that that's going to actually trigger. Most 2-turn haste weapon assists seem to be around 12-ish turns cooldown, so you need 30 skill boosts to get to here, but you were probably needing the haste that it would provide already from other stuff. So it's just kind of creating a problematic situation where it's yes, you do stuff, but you have no impact on turn 1, so to speak, because you can't inherit something zestier on top to deal with it. And the same is going to apply to her other forms. In her green form, same problem. 18-turn cooldown. Difficult to work around. Again, she does have potential damage output, but with this long cooldown, it's difficult to get them going. But then going back to the red form's weapon assist, you can get double TPA, 2 enhanced fire orbs, cloud, bind immunity, skill boost. It's not a bad set of awakenings, but it's only really truly relevant for TPA-based teams, and no team HP does make it a bit harder to stomach. On the flip side, her other form has double team HP, 4 fire orbs, enhanced 2 Ls, which doesn't quite work for putting back your assist because the assist gets removed and therefore the Ls are removed as well. Movement time. Not bad, not magical, I feel. The green form's weapon assist has double team RCVs, 2 skill boosts, skill bind resist, and an active skill that does give you 3 turns of absorption cancellation for both attribute and damage. Again, nice to have, but not something I would go out of my way to truly pursue. Her blue form at least solves the problem of having a terribly long cooldown because now it's a 7-turn cooldown for 2 turns of absorption of damage and attributes. So that's a nice ratio, 7-turn cooldown, 2 turns of absorption cancellation. This works out pretty well. She does actually have damage output with 4 or 5 attributes, double TPA, 4 skill boosts. She's missing an awakening, which is kind of odd. It'd be nice if she had 9 awakenings, but oh well. Super awakenings wise, she can gain even more damage output, or you could go for the super 100% blind resist or tape resist, depending on what your team actually needs. Weapon assist wise, nothing special beyond movement time, but again, I guess guard break is nice if you have cards who don't have guard break. It could be potentially helpful to give it to them for those rainbow based teams, but maybe at the same time, she could be a good solution for your absorption problems. For Alina, she has 6 enhanced hard orb awakenings, so she will be able to provide wonderful amounts of healing. She has pitiful offensive awakenings. These are just not going to do anything whatsoever. And even if you look at her super awakenings, getting more 7 combos brings her 7 combo count to 4. 4 7 combos was good 4 years ago maybe. Today, it's essentially useless. So she has 2 useless awakenings. They could have been movement time, they could have been Ls, they could have been anything else, and it would have been better than what it currently is. So it does make me feel like she's not particularly magical. Weapon assist wise for the fire form, a bunch of rows, combo orb, 2 enhanced hard orb awakenings. Nothing special, I feel. Other weapon assist has full bind immunity, cross, 3 rows, cloud, skill boost, whole second of movement time. Nothing particularly special. Dark form at least has a better spread of awakenings. She has 2 less enhanced hard orb awakenings, but she does have triple 10 combo, can get at least 2 more 7s, so at least a little bit closer to possibly doing damage depending on the team you play her on. But she does have 2 L's, and she is able to function as your cleric who can put back your assist. She does have a 5-turn cooldown that does give a 1-turn delay for attribute absorption cancellation. It's not a bad thing to have overall. I feel like the dark form is vastly superior to the fire form because at least it does give the chance of some damage. It may not be that much depending on what you're playing through, but at least it could do damage as opposed to just completely wasting it. So those 310 combos might come in handy, might not. Weapon assist wise, dark sub-attribute, 6 auto heal awakenings, which can be nice if you have like dark swipe teams, so to speak, that don't actually want to heal. But again, I don't know, hard to say. For Dina has 410 combos with the potential to... Wait, she is just a transforming card, so... No, she's not a transformer. She has 410 combos, doesn't show her super awakenings, but she can deal meaningful amounts of damage. She has a 1-turn cooldown, so easy to inherit over, but the active skill itself may not necessarily help you, unless there's like an excessive number of spinners, you can lock the orbs. Leader skill-wise, she's not going to be a particularly great leader compared to other options available, but if you happen to roll her and don't have many different stuff in your box, she is unbelievably easy to use because she deals large amounts of damage, adds combos, has auto follow-up attack, assuming you match 2 attributes. So with double Dina, you have +6 combos if you match 2 colors. I think you can match 2 colors. You get +6 combos and the auto follow-up attack. You should hit the 10 combo requirement because if you match 2 colors, that's 2 combos. And then you get 6 more. You only need to match 4 combos to hit her leader skill threshold, so it's easy to use. I guess it's just something I wanted to point out because it's incredibly easy to use for how much effort you need to put in, I think, relatively speaking. Weapon assist wise, triple team RCVs, 2 skill boosts, 4 fire orb enhanced. It also gives you 3 turns of haste on an 18-turn cooldown, so not a bad thing if you can justify not having team HP on your weapon assist. On the other hand, her other weapon assist is the opposite. 3 team HP awakenings, super or full blind resist. And if you just stop there, that'll be pretty spectacular. But the fun continues with a 3 attribute awakening and a whole second of orb movement time. So depending on the team you play, it can be quite a powerful weapon assist, giving you bulk, blind immunity, damage output, and an extra second of movement time. Yes, the cooldown is 1 turn when max skilled, so don't max skill her and you have a little bit of wiggle room. Throw this onto your leaders or like your system style cards who actually never want, like basically using their active skill on cooldown so it won't overcharge, which will make your life a bit easier. For Sonya, I just think she's kind of all over the place. I don't think she's particularly great nor helpful, so you could trade for her. It's a cleric on an 8-turn cooldown, a little longer than other stuff. I guess you get the board change, but at the same time, not particularly excited for her. Other form, if you are VDP based, I guess if you are a team that wants to do VDP and you hate devils and machines, she could be useful, but I don't own her. Maybe I'll just exchange for her just because she only requires 6-star Godfest exclusives. It's like the most inexpensive trade you can make. Maybe I'll just pick it up just to own, but I don't think I'm actually going to truly utilize her. Weapon assist does give you 4 team RCVs, which is actually a significant amount with a team HP and 3 fire rows, so maybe that might come in handy at some point. I'll probably just trade for her and just make her into a weapon assist. Senri has 6-7 combos, 4 VDPs, and a 2-turn cooldown that gives you movement time and RCV, and changing light to fire, wood to hearts. So not a bad active skill by any means, but I just don't quite think where can we utilize her truly that well, unfortunately. Weapon assist wise, 2 team HP, some rows, super follow-up attack, which doesn't really get used beyond like ranking dungeon stuff or like highly specific farming uses. I haven't really used a super follow-up attack weapon assist in a long time when I think about it. Carrot and the other gemstone princesses have no real value in their base forms. They just don't do enough of anything. And even the active skill, in all honesty, is a 5-turn attack buff, but that's not really that important, I feel, overall. So, unfortunate there. Taiyaki Striped Chocolate, I forgot whose weapon assist is, but 4 fire orb enhances, 2 team HPs. Nothing special in this day and age. It gets 1 turn of haste. Again, nothing special. I guess 8 turns of damage reduction if you're full health, but you may not be full health, which is kind of awkward. Valentine's Andromeda I feel like there was a period in time where she was quite spectacular when Shura 2, or World of Carnage 2, was a difficult dungeon because the Double Devil Killer gave her large amounts of damage output, and that dungeon is just completely riddled with movement time and RCV debuffs, and her on a 3-turn cooldown solving those problems, and 1 turn of attribute absorption cancellation made her incredibly strong for that particular dungeon. I've never owned one of these, so I don't really know where I would use her at this point in time, but as a whole, if you are facing Devil, she does deal strong amounts of damage with 4-10 combo awakening. She can have 5-10 combos. She does have, again, double Devil Killer, so immense damage against Devil type spawns, and a pretty high value active skill for just the 3-turn cooldown in all honesty. Weapon assist wise, it gives you team HP, RCV, full blind resist, a 7 combo, and 2 enhanced water combos. And the weapon assist itself actually does have an extremely large health stat, which will help transfer a modest amount of HP to your base card, because I'm assuming you're going to be using on a mono water team because of the 2 enhanced water combo awakenings. For Alreshka, she has double L, 4 VDPs. I guess maybe if you're a very VDP heavy team and you want to have the option of putting your assist back on, she could work, but it may just end up falling flat overall. Active skill is a nice 2-turn cooldown with a movement time and RCV buff, and creates 3 fire and water orbs at random. I think Andromeda is just superior because of the absorption cancellation, and the orb changing is not, I think, that impactful. 3 orbs is obviously not enough to make a 3x3 box, unfortunately. Weapon assist is skill boost and 3 team RCVs and a VDP awakening. So if your team has enough health, struggling to heal, is VDP based, it could be a possible useful weapon assist. But again, I think it's kind of niche overall. Facette, like Carrot, no real usage in all honesty, so we're just going to scroll past her. Astaroth, she has 4 Ls, so at least she can put your assist back on quickly. Active skill is a 3-turn cooldown that does give you fire and hazards to wood, and then movement time and RCV buffing. I still, again, think for a 3-turn cooldown, Andromeda is just a much superior choice because that 1 turn of attribute absorption can probably save your life as opposed to orb changing, because you probably have other ways to generate orbs for your respective team. She could gain 2 more Ls to bring her total up to 6 Ls, which again may or may not be useful. One thing I want to note is that this leader skill is requiring you to match wood and light. So if you have New Year's Nordis, she could be a respectable leader to farm the Colosseum up with. Weapon assist, I like it more than her other forms. It's got 2 team HPs, 4 enhanced wood orbs, 2 Ls, which probably won't do too much in all honesty, because your Ls are better on the card itself as opposed to assists, because if your assists get removed, the Ls here don't help you put them back on. And full poison resist. Not bad, about a reasonable weapon assist overall. Sheen, same problem as the other cards. It's just like an attack buff, like, oh, whoop-de-doo. This shaped white chocolate, 3 team RCVs, 4 enhanced wood orbs. Nothing particularly magical overall. Kusanagi Hime, she could be potentially your absorption solution, but it's a 9-turn cooldown, which is obviously a bit longer, but at the same time, the large damage reduction for 2 turns might give her a bit of an edge of other options. She does come with at least potentially 1, maybe 2 team HP awakenings, or she could take the 50% stat bonus. She does have 4 enhanced hard orb awakenings, so she can be potentially a supportive-ish character, but I feel like in terms of absorption solutions, there are lower base cooldown cards, but again, mixing shield with absorption with some bulk and healing is not a bad thing. Again, a card I feel like I would like to own, but not necessarily pursue. Pixel form, 4 VDPs, a 10 combo, 2 Ls, active skills on a 7-turn cooldown that gives you a big shield for a single turn and changes columns to orbs. It's not that special, I feel, for the most part. Weapon assist is team HP, team RCV, and then full blind and full jam resist, which is quite nice. Again, I feel like blind resist tends to be a bit more useful than jam resist, but then again, if there are bonds, it does help you out, so to speak. So it's not a bad weapon assist. Again, something that's, I think, nice to have, not necessarily something I'm going to go out of my way to pursue. Venus can potentially have 3 dungeon bonus awakenings, which is, I guess, kind of rare, but beyond that, I don't think she has any real usage overall because the active skill just is an attack buff. It's a movement time buff as well, and a bit of damage reduction for a single turn, but with those dungeon bonuses, you're either going to be button farming or swipe farming, and she doesn't really facilitate either of those with her awakenings or her active skill beyond the dungeon bonus awakening. So, Weapon assist, 2 skill boosts, 2 enhanced light orbs, full poison resist, skill bind resist. Astria, I feel like she has some potential before, but now she's just kind of mix and matching awakenings, and it's kind of awkward. She has 4 VDPs and 2 bricks, and you can't match both at the same time, so it's kind of awkward. And then at the same time, her active skill only generates 3 light and dark orbs, so nowhere near enough to satisfy these 9 and 12 orb requirements. So she's just kind of awkward. Yes, you have cloud and tape resist naturally, but I don't think it's enough to justify using them overall. Their active skill does give an RCV buff. It does make fire orbs unmatchable, which does clear unmatchable, but it's just not impactful enough, I feel. And the fact that no matter what, whatever you're matching, at least 2 of your awakenings are going to waste because, again, you can't VDP and you can't blob at the same time. Realistically, it's not going to happen. Weapon assist for her has double team HP, a combo orb, full poison resist, bind immunity. Not a bad thing overall, I guess, for your blob-based teams. Not a bad thing to have. Other weapon assist has double team HP, single team RCV, bind immunity, full jammer resist. Active skill does give you 5 turns of damage absorption, which is actually a significantly long time. So some dungeons may have lots of damage absorption at the front. Astria can at least solve that for you. For Lee is a transforming card, and they take 5 turns to transform, and then you are in this form. And that's where it's a bit problematic, because this active skill is on a 5-turn cooldown that switches your, kind of like Fasca, it switches your leader with your rightmost sub. So it's a leader swap, so it can allow you transforming cards to swap into position, but the problem is you need to transform Lee first and then wait 5 more turns. Like, seriously, it's not that efficient. And afterwards, unlike Fasca, the active skill is still the same swap effect. Yes, she does gain damage cap bonus for 99 turns, but it's just awkward, I think, to use because Fasca after swapping, because you only want to swap once in a given dungeon, and Fasca after swapping at least gives you a cleric active skill. This is just the same swap over and over and over again, so it's just awkward. Weapon assist gives you 2 team HPs and a cross. It does give you 2-turn delay, and then for the first 5 battles, you can switch places with leader and use again to switch back. Problem is, many things you want to swap into position have to transform, so there's no way you can actually utilize this active skill. So, kind of awkward again overall. If it was swap a different card, instead of, like, basically the card who owned this inherit could have swapped a different card, this would become one of the most exciting weapon assists because it would drastically open up stuff. Because Fasca's main shortfall is, well, you know, not having many skill boosts, which can be awkward potentially if you're playing in solo mode. The chocolate that you can acquire for relatively for free gained I don't exactly recall what it gained, but it has a co-op boost awakening, which I guess is cool. Valentine's Nay does a bit of everything in terms of offense, which is the problem because 4 TPAs, 2 VDPs, you're not going to be able to actually utilize all of them effectively. So something is going to go to waste, which is unfortunate. It does have a dragon killer, which is relevant because many things are dragons. Active skill is finally a 7-turn cooldown. So I feel like your clerics at a 7-turn cooldown is still on the high end. 5 turns I feel I'm more comfortable with based on how quick spawns are packed back to back that might give you problems. So could be a little bit of a drawback, still is 7 turns. You oftentimes don't need the board change, but maybe it will help you out because there are definitely some spawns that create a problematic board that you can't deal normally with, so maybe that can get you out of a bit of a sticky wicket. Super Awakenings wise, she does get levitation, so she can deal reasonable damage, but with only double 7 combos and 4 TPAs or 2 VDPs, damage output is alright. Not spectacular, but it's alright, I feel. Weapon Assist has gained a bunch of auto healing, which I didn't know I needed, and I didn't really think I would use, but hey, we have it, so cool, but it's still a bind immunity of double team HP and enhanced Hard Orb Awakening, so it's still not a bad thing. I used it on occasion periodically last year, not that much in all honesty, and I probably am not that inclined now. Noctaria has strong personal damage of 410 combos, potentially, can gain a 5 attribute on top of that, or 50% stats, depending on the type of team you are playing, or 2 VDPs. But active skill-wise, it does create, on a 3-turn cooldown, a single roulette or spinner lasting for 3 turns, and then 1 turn delay avoiding damage absorption. The problem with this is that it doesn't provide movement time, and if you don't provide movement time, you're most likely not going to be able to play with the spinner effectively. So sure, you have damage output, you could solve orb generation needs because of the spinner, but it's awkward without the movement time buff. So unfortunate for you, Noctaria. Weapon Assist has 3 seconds of orb movement time, enhanced Hard Orb VDP. If you need movement time, it's not a bad choice. 3 Dark Rose, double 7 combo, enhanced Heart combo, or enhanced Hard Orb for other Weapon Assist. Again, not particularly amazing. Now, Godfest exclusive Noctaria has changed, and in her transformed form, I don't quite know what she gained differently. She gained better stats. Her active skill C, it gives movement time buff, which makes it usable as a solution, but not quite sure where I'm going to want to use her, because upon transformation, it just gives you 3 turns of 50% damage reduction. Probably not enough to tank hits, so it's kind of like a dead weight active skill until you actually get going, which is probably not what you want. Her weapon assist for the Godfest exclusive version can be useful if you want Cloud and Team RCVs, but beyond that, I'm not particularly excited. Other weapon assist has a dark sub-attribute, double team HP, and a 3 attribute, which is kind of confusing. If you put that sub-attribute, if they had a sub-attribute already, you put the dark one on. Unless it was dark already, it's not going to actually be a damage increase. And the 3 attribute is just unusual as well, I feel, but oh well, it's something. Her other form has, I don't even know what changed in all honesty, but active skill-wise gives you 2 times movement time for a single turn and a single spinner for 1 turn on a 2-turn cooldown. So unfortunately, you need 2 of them to solve your orb generation needs, when oftentimes it's nice to have just 1 card solving all your orb generation needs because they have a looping spinner. Noctaria unfortunately does not have that. This chocolate mousse, I don't quite know where it comes from, but it's not particularly important overall. Valentine's Day chocolate has, I think it's free. Maybe you pick it up, not particularly great. Pano, is Pano from this event? Maybe she is. Well, either way, Pano, when she transforms, has a 3-turn cooldown that gives themselves a damage cap increase of 7 billion, but they only have 1 attribute, so it's only 1 ping, so it's kind of awkward, I feel. Still 7 billion, so I guess if there are spawns of very high defense, the 7 billion does overcome it. And it does, on a 3-turn cooldown, give you 2 turns of the damage cap increase, 30% heal, and then it creates 6 dark and 3 hearts at random, which was not a bad thing because you can trigger the VDP if you had 3 existing dark orbs, or proc her 4 enhanced dark orb awakening, or enhanced dark combo awakenings with the 6 orbs generated, so everyone can deal large amounts of damage. Not a bad thing overall. I don't think I have a Pano, so I never really played around with it, but I can see multiple dark combos dealing large amounts of damage. But again, unless they are your orb generation, they're not solving other mechanics. Weapon assist wise, they have Team HP, Team RCV, Combo Orb, 3 Dark Rose, Skill Boost, Skill Bind Resist. Nothing amazing, nothing bad. It gives you 2 turns of haste. It's all right. And that's it. So, yes, these were all the new buffs and changes. And if you did listen the whole way through, you'll probably notice I said, it's all right. It's not bad. Some cards are obviously good, but because of the relatively bad rolling rates, I don't think it's necessarily worth rolling in unless you truly want Valentine's Noah, because if you can make use of it and you have enough stones and fodder to spare, you can create a spectacular swipe farming team. But is that necessary if you have New Year's Nordis, if you have Shiva Dragon? It all depends on your own individual monster box goals and needs. But with that being said, let me know what you lovely ladies and gentlemen think about the Valentine's Rare Machine in the comment section down below. Do you think it's actually worth rolling in, or is it something you're just going to get your free stuff and pass? Regardless of all that, hopefully all you lovely ladies and gentlemen have a truly fantastic day. I wish you best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.